Hi, I am Dr. Sara Arter, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Nursing. In J-Term 2024, I will be teaching Servant Leadership in a Crisis, Humanitarian Aid, which will take place in Differdange, Luxembourg and Geneva, Switzerland. I have been fortunate enough to receive my own leadership training in the past through the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and currently as a scholar of the Macy's Faculty Scholars Program, both that are national programs. As a healthcare professional, my work has always revolved around people. This is similar to a lot of you who will graduate and take jobs in professions that broadly focus on people or improving the human condition. I've realized through my own personal career experience that servant leadership is a style where the needs of those we serve are central to all of our goals and is an effective method of influencing sustainable change. Servant leadership in a crisis will give you a broad overview of humanitarian aid, including the evolution of humanitarian aid as a field and the priorities and current challenges encountered in international humanitarian aid efforts. We will deep dive into issues that precipitate humanitarian crises, such as conflict, climate change, and natural disasters, just to name a few. We will also analyze the role of the servant leader in humanitarian aid. So, we'll discuss things such as how servant leadership differs from other leadership styles and how we can apply this knowledge to your specific discipline working within the humanitarian aid sector. The first 2 weeks of the course will take place in Luxembourg at the Miami Chateau. And during that time, we will have some class time. We will invite some speakers. In the past, we've had speakers from Doctors Without Borders. They've spent some time talking about the ethical dilemmas that have emerged during their own missions in humanitarian aid. We have also welcomed Caritas International into the classroom to talk about European law related to refugees, immigration, and internally displaced people. We're also planning a service learning day with Caritas International that has a facility within walking distance to the chateau, where we can spend a service learning day with refugees, which right now primarily they're from the Middle East, Africa, and Ukraine, and all of them are currently being housed in Luxembourg. The last week of the course will take place in Geneva, Switzerland. So while we're in Geneva, we will not really spend much time in a classroom at all. During this time, we visit the International Red Cross Museum. We take a chocolate tour through the city. I mean, even if you are the biggest lover of chocolate, by the end of the tour, you will be a little bit like, no, I'm done. I've had enough chocolate. It's so delicious. And you get to learn a lot about the history of the city of Geneva as well. It's fantastic. Geneva is a city where a lot of the humanitarian aid organizations have their headquarters. And so we are going to be exposed to a lot of that. It's also a very global city, so there's a lot of culture there. It's just a fantastic place to be. Also, while we're there, we're actually going to take one day away from Geneva and we're going to spend a day in the Alps. So we're going to drive an hour away to Chamonix, France. And we'll take a cable car up to a summit in the Alps where we'll get a really good view of Mont Blanc, if the weather, allows us to, that is. But that's a fantastic day too. So also while we're in Geneva, the last thing that I'm really excited to announce that we just found out last week that we were able to secure is a 3-day immersion training with the United Nations. So this will be an incredible opportunity to tour the United Nations European headquarters at Palais des Nations. You will also hear from current diplomats working in this space. So we don't have specific people nailed down yet, but we might be able to hear from people that are working in the World Health Organization or in the Office of the UN High Commissioner of Refugees. There's a lot of different opportunities here. And then you will also receive your own training in things such as diplomacy or working in multilateral organizations or cosmopolitan communication. It's going to be a fantastic experience. There is also one independent weekend between weeks 1 and 2 of the course, and students take that weekend and usually travel to places such as Paris or Brussels or somewhere in Germany. Altogether, it's an incredibly fun trip, and with the additional partnerships with the United Nations, this will be an especially impactful experience. So I hope to see you guys on the trip. Thanks.